So this is part 2 of Videocast number 2. That might be confusing, but you'll catch up. We were in part 1 of Videocast number 2 discussing Elie's current work in the camp titled Buna, and also his boss, who is named Idek. We talked specifically about how Idek, he's a little unstable. He can be a fair guy, not really nice, but fair. But he can also be really, 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 really cruel. He goes into these fits of anger, and if you get in his way, whew, you're going to be hurting, physically hurting. So we discussed the fact that at one point, Elie accidentally ended up in Idek's path when he got upset and was beaten very severely. Now, we're going to read another segment about how Idek's fury is a little bit more purposeful and a little bit more targeted at Elie. Specifically, we're going to look at why that is. Now, this particular vignette is quite mature, but we're going to read it anyway because it happened and because we're becoming young adults and we can handle it. So I'm going to start reading at the bottom of page 56, and I hope that you'll follow along with me where Elie starts a few days. Give you a second to get there. Okay. A few days before the Poles left, I had a novel experience. It was on a Sunday morning. Our commando was not required to work that day. Only Idek would not hear of us staying in the camp. We had to go to the depot. Their sudden enthusiasm for work astonished us. At the depot, Idek entrusted us to Frantic, who's another foreman, saying, "Do what you like, but do something, or else you'll hear from me." And he disappeared. We didn't know what to do. Tired of huddling on the ground, we each took turns strolling through the warehouse in the hope of finding something, a piece of bread perhaps, that a civilian might have forgotten there. When I reached the back of the building, I heard sounds coming from a small adjoining room. I moved closer and had a glimpse of Idek and a young Polish girl, half naked on a straw mat. Now I understood why Idek refused to leave us in the camp. He moved 100 prisoners so that he could copulate with this girl. It struck me as terribly funny, and I burst out laughing. Idek jumped, turned, and saw me while the girl tried to cover up. I wanted to run away, but my feet were nailed to the floor. Idek grabbed me by the throat. Hissing at me, he threatened, "Just you wait, kid. You'll see what it costs to leave your work. You'll pay for this later. Now, go back to your place." A half hour before the usual time to stop work, the capo assembled the entire commando. Roll call. Nobody understood what was going on. A roll call? At this hour? Here? Only I knew. Idek made a short speech. An ordinary inmate does not have the right to mix in other people's affairs. One of you does not seem to have understood this point. I shall therefore try to make him understand clearly once and for all. I felt the sweat running down my back. A7713. I stepped forward. "A crate," he ordered. They brought a crate. "Lie down on it, on your belly." I obeyed. I no longer felt anything except the lashes of the whip. 1, 2, he was counting. He took his time between lashes. Only the first really hurt. I heard him count. 10, 11. His voice was calm and reached me as though through a thick wall. 23. 2 more, I thought, half conscious. The capo was waiting. 24. 25. It was over. I had not realized it, but I had fainted. I came to when they doused me with cold water. I was still lying on the crate. In a blur, I could see the wet ground next to me. Then, I heard someone yell. It had to be the capo. I began to distinguish what he was shouting. Stand up! I must have made some movement to get up, but I felt myself fall back on the crate. How I wanted to get up. Stand up! He was yelling even more loudly. If only I could answer him. If only I could tell him that I could not move. But my mouth would not open. At Idek's command, 2 inmates lifted me and led me to him. Look me in the eye. I looked at him without seeing him. I was thinking of my father. He would be suffering more than I. Listen to me, you son of a swine, he said coldly. So much for your curiosity. You shall receive 5 times more if you dare tell anyone what you saw. Understood? I nodded. Once, 10 times, endlessly, as if my head had decided to say yes for all eternity.